I still to this day love dirt track racing. I don't care what kind of car it is. I love pavement racing, but I've always loved and been passionate about the challenge of dirt track racing and how the tracks constantly changes. Through my whole career, the dirt track side has just been one thing that it's like I'm a little kid when I go. And the Cup stuff is very glamorous. I'm very fortunate to race with the best stock car drivers in the country, but I didn't do this for the glamour. I do it for the passion of the sport. I got a phone call from Earl Baltus one day. He said, "I need you to come see me. I need to talk to you." When he told me that him and his wife wanted me to take over Eldora Speedway for him, it's one of the most famous dirt tracks in the country. The first thing I did was pick up the phone and call Kerry Agajani and say, "You aren't going to believe the phone call that I got."
I think at the time Earl didn't want to sell it to anybody but Tony. That's how much Earl respected Tony, and that's how much Tony respected Earl.
It was the right racetrack, the right opportunity at the right time, from the right people. The thing about Eldora, though, is it had such an aura about it that it was a scenario that you wanted to go in, and we knew we wanted to make improvements, but there was a very delicate balance to maintain. It has such a huge history and such a loyal fan base that you had to be careful on everything that we did, whether it was adding billboards on the backstretch or building suites. Things like that had to really be thought out. It wasn't just what's it going to take to do it, but how will it affect the overall feel of Eldora Speedway. I believe we've done a good job of keeping that balance, of keeping the feel, but at the same time bringing new improvements. We have a small staff. We've got about 7 people that are full-time at Eldora. The rest are all part-time high school kids that come in on the weekends. We were at a pre-chase dinner that NASCAR normally hosts each year, and I was talking to Steve O'Donnell, and he just out of the blue asked me what I would like to see different if I had the ability to change something. I said I'd have a dirt race on the schedule. And then a year later, at the same dinner, Steve came up to me and said, "Were you serious about hosting a dirt race at Eldora?" And I was like, "Absolutely. I really believed we could do it." You're going to a new place that you've never been to, on a surface you may not have ever been on before, and in a vehicle that's never been there before. It was trucks. It was NASCAR, and it was a view that I was used to seeing, but in an atmosphere I wasn't used to seeing them in. It can be very mean to you, your first trip there. The first 15 minutes of practice, I wouldn't have known if the trees outside the racetrack were on fire. I wouldn't have noticed. It was like you could see the acceleration curve of watching these guys get accustomed to driving the truck around there and figuring the racetrack out at the same time. And those guys, from the teams to the drivers, they picked it up really quick. It wasn't something I planned. I just ended up going and shaking a couple guys' hands in the front row, and then I just kept working my way back. And after about 6 or 8 of those guys, I'm like, I'm going to shake everybody's hand that's in this race. That was just something that I won't forget that. I mean, it was guys that I never spoke to before, never met before. That was the first time I met them, was sticking my hand through the window of the car and shaking their hands or tapping them on the helmet and telling them good luck. I fully expected there to be a yard sale in the first 5 laps. That never happened. And finished the first lap, no caution. The second lap, no caution. By lap 20, I finally let my guard down and finally just became a fan. My life has consisted for 35 years of driving race cars, and ownership came into that play and track ownership. But that moment of hosting the first truck race there is something that hopefully at the end of my life that I'll be remembered for.